Okay, we're back. I'm Tina Trenner. Anthony Barney, no, Tony Barney. I'm telling you, he has too many names. It drives me crazy. I'm going to call you Tony. Tony.
You want to call me Anthony, and then you want to call me Tony. You can call me either.
Dignified, you know. And Larry Harrison. I always know Larry's name. Okay, and I don't call you Lawrence.
Well, as you shouldn't. My name is Larry.
Okay. All right, let's get back to Arizona because I believe there's more than meets the eye in Arizona. And isn't it interesting to see all of the crud buckets coming out from under the rocks to protest this? You know, it's just amazing what they'll protest. We're talking about enforcing a law. You don't want to do that. Are you kidding? Is that close to anarchy? I mean, when the federal government will not enforce a law and you've got people in the streets wanting to break the law, what the heck is that?
Well, I think you run into the problem that we discussed in last week's show. If there is no punishment for the crime, then recidivism goes up. You have essentially a lawless society that begins to take hold. And that is the risk that you run with not enforcing the laws. In other words, if you're going to pass them, you better enforce them.
Well, one day they're saying, we are a country of laws. I mean, I remember George Bush. Do you remember him saying, we are a country of laws? Hello, George, you're not enforcing some of them, and he's one of the reasons we have the border problem. Clinton before him, I mean, this is a long, long history of ignoring the law, and it's at critical mass. It's at critical mass because of the rancher that was killed down in Arizona, the drugs that are coming across, the fighting that is happening right there on the border, and the people that are getting their heads chopped off, my God. I mean, this is happening, and there's Arizona, and you're thinking that it has a financial end to this too, right?
Well, I think everything really, in terms of politics, comes down to money. And the problem that you have... Power, possibly, and money. But the problem that you have in Arizona is that you have a society that is being ravaged from an uncontrolled and a very porous border. The problem is what that leaves in its wake are financial strain, really.
Well, look at California.
It leaves a financial strain upon the state of Arizona that they are trying to deal with. Well, when the federal government doesn't enforce the laws that are already in place, you have a state, in order to protect their sovereign interest and their sovereign finances, pass a law in an attempt to push the government to actually enforce the federal laws that are already on the books. And that's what Arizona went ahead and did.
Well, if I know, oh bummer, we're going to get a worse thing than we've got right now. Whatever it is that ever he comes up with, it's going to make it worse, not better. It's going to make it worse. Remember, I said that. Remember.
It's interesting, though, that when you look at the issue of Arizona protecting their sovereignty through protecting their finances, and the programs that are being drained because of the influx of illegal immigration, you have a situation where they have no other choice, because to not protect their sovereign finances or the finances of the state, they run into a situation where they are running out of money, like many of the states. The problem is that is a central problem, and it's interesting. Paul Volcker, who is one of Obama's lead strategists in the financial on his financial team, has said that the problems we are facing right now deal with the sovereign nature of potential default. In other words, states defaulting on their loans. Tina mentioned earlier California, but that's essentially what we're dealing with now, and we have a state that has really taken the situation by the reins and said, hey, wait a second, we don't want to become California. We want to protect the finances we have, and if we have to pass a law to protect the sovereignty of our state and our nation, we're going to move on this, and I applaud their efforts.
I do too. In fact, let me just ask you, Larry, knowing that they're cracking down in Arizona, and I think a lot of illegals will move because of it, do you think they're going to come to Nevada?
There's not a lot of draw here. Right? They need to go.
There's no
someplace-
jobs for sure.
There's no jobs. I mean, my goodness, where are we, first or second as
Yeah.
far as worst? But you know, the immigration bill is something that really, really has, you use the term power. So when you look in Washington, D.C., and as you know, I spend a fair amount of time back there, power in Washington, D.C. is about money, and it's about being able to influence an election. So with the immigration law, and we can get illegal aliens to become legal citizens, and now they get the vote, now they've got the power. And that power is enough to sway an election. So this is why the immigration bill is trying to be pushed through. We talk a lot about the health care bill. It was done fast, but it's more important that we do it properly instead of doing it fast. And now they're talking about doing the immigration bill fast instead of really analyzing the pros and cons of it. And they really want to get this done before November for a very, very good reason, and it's about power to influence an election.
I think that's true. I think they think that if they are on the side of the illegals and they make them legal, guess what? They'll vote for them. Now that's what they're thinking, and I think they're probably pretty darn right. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that if they make all the illegals that are in this country legal, if they give them amnesty and they can vote, I'm going to say that Obama is going to be president for the rest of our natural lives, because he's going to do something where he just sits there and we just watch this country melt completely down, just further go right down the tubes, because the UN and the globalists have a plan for us. I know, Tina, you're always talking about it. Sorry, I've been talking about it for 25 years, and guess what? I'm being proven right. You know, I was the person at Christmas that'd go, oh, no, not her again. Tina, don't say it again, I don't want to hear it. Now they're going, okay, we're sorry, we shouldn't have been so nasty, you were right. Something really, really bad is happening now. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the United Nations, how they are intruding into your lives. They have been since back in the 70s and maybe even before that, but I've gone back and found some information. Tony's gone back and found some information. We're going to talk about your property rights and how they want to influence it. We'll be right back.